Hi there. I'd like to talk about Columbus Day getting replaced by Indigenous Peoples Day. Now, there are some 2 million Catholic Knights of Columbus and at least 1 or 2 Americans of Italian descent who see this as anti-Catholic and anti-Italian bigotry. So I'm curious, how is that possible in this time of wokeness? The answer could be that the squeaky wheel gets the grease and social media is a huge megaphone. Presidents Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln are being attacked, so why not blame Christopher Columbus for all the terrible things the indigenous had to endure, including the tens of thousands who died from diseases like smallpox that they didn't have a natural immunity to. He also gets blamed for slavery because he sent 500 natives to Europe after writing they would make intelligent servants. He also wrote of tribal warfare and cannibalism. It may have been widespread. Archaeologists found the scalped, dismembered skeletons of 500 men, women, and children in a pit in South Dakota. That massacre took place hundreds of years before Chris arrived here. Columbus's Atlantic crossing was that era's moon landing, even if he was 15,000 years too late to discover America. You can't blame him for things that happened hundreds of years after he came, like the Trail of Tears, much like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, for all the litter that's accumulating on the moon. By the way, Apollo 11's command module went around the moon 30 times, piloted by Michael Collins. He was born in the Kingdom of Italy's capital, Rome. Neat, huh? Another, by the way, Columbus's historical record was tarnished by something called the Black Libel, the anti-Catholic, anti-Spanish information attack made by Northern Europeans against the Empire of Spain. Fast forward to 1847, the potato blight hit Ireland and 1 million people starved to death. 4 million emigrated. They were joined by Italians and Germans and so many others. France gave us the Statue of Liberty because they all came here for freedom. Back then, there was massive anti-Catholic bigotry in the U.S. The third largest political party, the American Party, said Catholics were more loyal to the Pope than to the U.S. and so were incapable of full citizenship. Many Protestant ministers believed this deeply. The Knights of Columbus was founded in New Haven in 1882 with a name specifically chosen to counter this bias. The Catholic and Italian Christopher Columbus's contributions can and will never be forgotten. Protestant Americans believed Italians were natural-born criminals. The word mafia entered into the American language and is used till today to tarnish Italians. Racism tarnishes them too. Italians from the south of the country who were olive-skinned were considered to be almost black, like African Americans. At the time, newspapers often advertised lynchings in response to 9 Italians being acquitted of the murder of the New Orleans police chief. On March 14, 1891, the local newspaper ran, "All good citizens are invited to a mass meeting to remedy the failure of justice." I think that's clear, don't you? 11 Italian men were lynched hours later in New Orleans. 11 innocent men. God rest their souls. They had come to the United States to build a better life for themselves and their families. They worked on the docks, in a plantation, cobblers, tinsmiths, fruit vendors, just working people. But, and there's always a but, they were Italian Catholics and there was bigotry. I quote the New York Times. The mob's victims were desperate ruffians and murderers. These sneaking and cowardly Sicilians, the descendants of bandits and assassins, are to us a pest without mitigation. Our own rattlesnakes are as good citizens as they. Our own murderers are men of feeling and nobility compared to them. That's the New York Times. The lynchings appalled President Harrison. He decided to acknowledge the contributions of Italians to the fabric of America by Presidential Proclamation. It would honor a prominent Italian whose contributions were unquestioned. Choices included Galileo, Dante, Leonardo da Vinci, Marco Polo, and Michelangelo. Not a shabby list. President Harrison decided on Columbus not just because the 400th anniversary of his landing was a year away, but, and here's another but, because that landing was world-changing. It came after the Middle Ages and before both the Renaissance and the Age of Reason. Some achievements of the human mind and spirit are so sublime, they seem almost inevitable, such as the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, the first footfall of Columbus on the shore of the New World echoed like a thunderclap down the centuries, and its reverberations have not yet died away. New York City's Columbus Circle statue was presented to the United States by Italy and was erected for the first Columbus Day. Both that day and the statue honor Italian Americans and oppose anti-Catholic, anti-Italian bigotry. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. Sadly, today we are seeing Columbus statues defiled or destroyed and Columbus Day being removed from the calendar. The calendar has 2 days to honor Native Americans. One of them is the day after Thanksgiving. There's also an entire month to honor the native born. Replacing the one day to remember Christopher Columbus might be seen as valuing red over the almost colored Italians. Columbus has become a representative of the Italians, just as St. Patrick is to the Irish. Canceling Chris's Day is an insult to millions of people, Catholics, Italians, and Knights. Those trying to remove Columbus Day might want to learn a little bit about it, and that includes government officials and Board of Education members. They, especially, might want to teach history and not erase it. By the way, John Kennedy faced the same prejudice when he ran for president in 1960. After he won, some used red nail polish to paint a keppa on the head of George Washington to mimic the Pope. They called them Kennedy quarters. Stupid bigots, the Pope wears a white zucchetto. It's not red. Alas, by the way, of the 12 million immigrants who came through Ellis Island while it was open, the very first person to come through those doors was an Irish girl named Annie Moore. Now, legend says that she was crying, so an Italian let her go first. Isn't that wonderful? I am Mike for the Be More Better team. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, and even subscribing. John Locke said that politics and power without truth and reason give terror and tyranny. Think about that. History happens. You gotta learn from it and do better. And now a shout out to Sean, who told me about Kennedy Quarters, and to Deacon Al, who said that the Pope wears a white zucchetto. God bless America. Until the next time, bye now. Thank you.